Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here taking a look at Sketchcross. Now, this is going to have to come with a little bit of history. I actually quite enjoy Picross. This is basically Picross with a pencil and paper theme going for it. I finished Picross DS and Picross 3D and Pickbox, which was another Picross game on PlayStation Mobile. So I'm pretty good at Picross, or at least I like to think I am. This game has either proved me wrong, or it's really done a bad job at Picross. Let's just take a look around real quick. We just got an options screen here, which gives us the sound and the credits. Now, I'm going to go through the tutorial just to prove a point. This music also really gets on your nerves after a little while. So basically, it just tells you what Picross is and how a correct solution is discovered. And that's basically all it does. It also explains the controls, obviously. So, we'll just fill in this puzzle real quick. So the idea of Picross, for those of you who don't know, is basically paint by numbers. What you do is you fill up the columns and the rows depending on the numbers on the columns and the rows. So for example, this is a 5x5 puzzle, so that 5 going down there, that whole column has to be filled. Now 2.2, that dot means there's a space, and since we only have 5 dots, since we only have 5 spaces in this row, we can't fill this in any other way. So all these have been filled in because, as you can see, there's only 1, 1, 1, 1 for those particular spaces. So they have to be by themselves. They can't be attached to anything. Now, this here, down here, that's 2x2, so we'll fill those in. And now we can block these off by holding circle. We can fill this in and block this off. We can fill this in and block this off, and it's done anyway. So yeah, that's the idea. And the game's got 3 difficulty modes. The difficulty modes are a bit strange, honestly. We'll get to them as soon as I can get through this huge amount of loading screens. So we can go to difficulty and modes. And we've got 3 difficulty modes here. Easy, normal, and hard. Easy has the check mark available at any time, so you can check what your solution is. And the time counts up. And it's basically just for casual play. Normal only makes the check mark appear after the par time has been passed. And yeah, well, that's pretty much it, basically. And hard, well, the time actually ticks down, so if you're running out of time, you fail and you don't get the check mark at all, which is kind of strange. You've also got frenzy mode, but I'll come back to frenzy mode at the end of the video. I have one major problem with this version of Picross. The difficulty level is beyond insane. Like, it's incredibly difficult. It really is. Like, the first 2 start out okay. You get 5x5 puzzles and maybe 1 10x10 stuffed in there. Then you get on to 3, and some of the puzzles are okay. But then you get a puzzle like this ant puzzle here. I have no idea how to complete this fucking puzzle. I honestly don't. It's unbelievable. I don't know many techniques for solving puzzles, but basically, I would expect the game to teach me more than just the typical how the puzzle works. I would expect them to teach me techniques. I don't know how to solve any of this. Like, you can't fill in any of these based on their actual... You can't fill in any of these based on the fact that it would make a complete row or a column. And, like, alright, so we can start here, for example. So, these 2 are going to have to be filled in one way or another, because it's going to have to stretch out one way or another to fill in the 6. So we got that, and then we can pretty much guarantee these spaces here aren't going to be occupied. Same with this one space over here. Now I have no goddamn clue where to go. Because by the rules of Picross, the pictures don't actually have to mean anything. Just because it says ant up there doesn't mean it actually can or has to be an ant. Probably is an ant, but for the rules of Picross, everything needs to be solved by logic. And logic takes me no fucking further. I do not know how to solve this puzzle. We'll go to another puzzle. I really shouldn't have tapped main menu though. I should have tapped level select. We'll go to another puzzle that's a little bit simpler. Hopefully. See, we'll go with the turtle. How about that? The game's controls pretty much make sense. You use L and R to zoom in and out. You hold circle to draw the crosses. Crosses don't mean anything. They just mean you don't really want to be going and putting stuff here. It's to help you figure out the puzzle more than anything else. And you tap and hold to draw squares. Sometimes it can be a little bit over precise, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. But as we can see here, this can only be filled in by one way now. So if we do that, boom, we have one column filled in. And let's see. What else can we do? I tend to get stuck on these more often than... Okay, 5. So these 4 have to be filled in at some point. So we can cross this out. And that one up there, 2 and 4. So it's going to have to extend out one way or another. This probably isn't our square. So yeah, the idea is basically you just either use a touch interface or the buttons, and you check from time to time, and you can see how you're doing on the puzzle. It's just some of these puzzles are so hard, and they do not teach you the logic rules you need to navigate these puzzles. So, I mean, I'm not a beginner, but even I, with my like, I don't know, amateur level skills, really have trouble getting through this. So, unless you're basically a Picross savant, you're not going to get much out of this, and even then you might be in a bit of trouble. Let's see, that's a 3 there, so we can just cross these 2 out here, because they're not going to be needed. That can extend in any direction. This can be crossed out here because it's not needed. And that can also be crossed out, and that can be filled in. Alright, so we can cross this out, and we can cross this out too, so let's keep looking. Picross is a pretty boring game to show off on camera. It's just... when I don't really know enough to actually, like, get most of the puzzles done, is just... it just kind of infuriates me. But thankfully, logic has helped me out a fair bit here. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. Thank you. And that's a 2x4, so let's see. Either way... no, that's not going to do anything either way. Let's see. Well, that's the 4 and the 1, so if it's going to be a 2x2... I don't know, chances are it'll show up in one of those, in one of these 2 squares here, but I'm not going to risk it. There is the check button, so there are some really, really hard puzzles later on. Like, it can get really, really frustrating because, like, one of the puzzles on section 3, I really couldn't get past, and I ended up just guessing my way through the whole thing. The game has this weird thing where, depending on the difficulty level, it unlocks the next book for you, the next set of puzzles. But for some reason, sometimes it just doesn't work. And then there was that one time where I exited out of the game, opened it back up, and all my progress was gone, and I had to start again, which was really, really frustrating. But yeah, let's keep looking around. I'm missing something, I'm sure I am. There are some puzzles which are actually pretty well designed, it's just... sometimes they aren't. Okay, so this has to be done, this can be crossed out. This has to be this, so we'll cross these out here. 4, so we can cross this one out, which means this is definitely here. That makes that a 5, so this has to be there. Cross that one out. And we've got most of the puzzle done, it's just the ones down the bottom that we need to figure out. And that's already at 3, so we can cross these out here, which means this has to be this. And this has to be this, and we're done. Or we're not. Right, have to fill that one in. There we go. So that's just a simple example of a puzzle being filled in. I mean, I know I didn't have much commentary for you there, but that was a basic example of a Picross puzzle. But unfortunately, some of these puzzles just get completely and utterly insane. And I just, for the life of me, I haven't been able to figure them out. So let's try and figure out this puzzle here, the elephant. It's got a part time of 15 minutes, so it's probably going to be a really big puzzle. Yeah, 15 by 15, as I expected. So let's just fill these in just as a starter. And these 2 down here can be crossed out because they're relatively unnecessary. 13, so that can go down to there by the looks of things. Okay. Just as I said, just because okay, we can cross, whoopsie daisy. We can cross all these out because I didn't see those zeros up there. The best idea for a game of Pie-Cross is to try and figure out what you can fill in immediately. And I like puzzles that do that because it means you've got a logical working point to start with. And let me tell you, this game really doesn't have many of those. Let's see, these have to be connected. So we'll connect those up. For some reason that goes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it stands out in two ways in any direction. This can be crossed out. And we've got those 10 down there. Not really much we can do down there right now. Let's see. 5 and 6, that equals 12, doesn't it? So, yeah, because there's that spot in the middle. That can't possibly be the 2 there, so we can cross the... Well, actually it can. We can't really safely cross those out, can we? Let's see. 2, 3, 4. Cross the rest of these out. 6 to 1. Well, we can safely fill these in. And then the other two, it'll just have to stretch out the other ways with those other 2. So you slowly just do these puzzles and they slowly build up into pictures of some kind, but sometimes they don't. I will explain that momentarily. It's just... It's not beginner friendly. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, most other Pie-Cross games I've played have been really beginner friendly and have a nice run up. But then they immediately but this game just immediately just falls down the bloody rabbit hole of difficulty. With having a really strangely hard puzzle being the 5th puzzle in a set of puzzles. And it's just a massive pain trying to figure some of these out, honestly. Actually, 2, 3... 2. Oh yeah, that's got to be filled in either way. It's just really, really painful to play at points. I'm having trouble enjoying it just because it's so difficult and it really doesn't teach you anything, so you don't know, like, what techniques you're going to have to apply. So, like, that tutorial was all you get throughout the game. There's no extra prompts or anything. I really don't know what to do here. How am I doing on the rounds? Okay, so I can actually cross all these out now, which is a bit nice. It really does feel like you have a bit of a not a handicap, a bit of a thing you have to lie your shoulder on at times if you're not very good at Pie-Cross. Alright, so that's that. So what else can we do? Yeah, this can safely be marked down here. 5, 4, 2, that's 9, 11, 12, 13, right? It's not the full width, so I can't really do anything with that yet. Be nice if I could figure out what that 1 was over there, but I don't think I'll be able to do that. Is that a 2? That's got to be a 2. Those are all got to be 2s. This game is painful sometimes. Oh, the 11s can be filled in here, right. That was a bit overly... whatever. Fill those in because they're unnecessary. Can't put anything there. These ones can be filled in. Okay, we can put a 3 down. We can get rid of this, thank God for that. We can put this here though, and there's room over there for a 1, but I don't think that can fit in there with the logic the game's using. The rest of this can be filled in because it's obvious it's not going to be there. Slowly but surely building something. These can be filled in too, I guess. Can we fill in this one safely? We can. Can we fill in this one safely? We can do that too. And since there's basically no other room for a 1, we can cross these 2 out. I hate trying to demonstrate Pie-Cross games. And these can be filled in, these can be filled in, and that is definitely not what is meant to be filled in here. This can be filled in there, which means this can be crossed out. Let's see. Fill these in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And, you know, we can... Bloody logic puzzles. They'll be the death of me, I tell ya. Okay, we can fill these in safely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, basically, this has to extend out to be the 6, so we can fill this 1 column in now pretty much completely. Cross that. 4 over this way. Fill this in. That's a 5, so we can fill these in. We can fill this in, so that's 8 now. 2, 3, and no 1 down there. That's a bugger. But we can fill this in, though. We can fill these in, which means this can be out to that. My commentary really doesn't do you any purpose. It's just showing you basically a puzzle being solved in this game, but hopefully that helps someone. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no room for these to not be 1s. Same with this one, really. I'm missing something here. Five, and then 6 down the bottom. Okay, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, that's 5, so this can be removed. 2, 4, 5. We'll check this. And yeah, as expected. Right, I'll show off the frenzy mode before we bring this to an end. It's just, it doesn't teach you enough about Picross to be even remotely beginner friendly. That's the main problem with Sketchcross. And there's only 50 puzzles included with the game. They say they're going to include 20 more as free DLC later on. And there is this mode, which I'm about to show off, which is Frenzy. But it doesn't feel like it has enough content to justify, what is it going to be, like $8? But anyway, here's Frenzy. So the idea of Frenzy is that it procedurally generates Picross puzzles so that you can just basically solve these as fast as you can. You get like 3/4 of a minute to get these done. And I mean, it's not that bad of an idea. It just doesn't last very long because it's got the same, like, crazy hard puzzles, and you're gonna I have a bit of trouble getting through these. It's just I was never very good at doing Picross quickly, and this game really doesn't help matters. But yeah, when you fail, your chain gets reset and you have to start with a new, freshly generated puzzle. Just really avoid like the plague if you haven't played Picross before. Otherwise, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of it. It only has 50 puzzles though, so you may not be able to spend that much time in it purely because it just doesn't have any puzzles. So it doesn't have many puzzles, I should say. One more Frenzy puzzle and then I'll end off the video. Just got that one. They're not meant to look like anything. They're just... Alright, one more puzzle. I'll definitely fail this one, chances are. Let's see. Okay, there's basically no room for them to not be there, so we can cross these off now. These can be filled in. That means that has to be filled in, so this can be closed off now. This can be closed. These have to be there in those gaps, which means the last one has to be there. Right, okay. That's enough of that. Also, a couple of UI glitches and that other glitch I mentioned earlier on. But yeah, that was a look at Sketchcross. Not beginner friendly, not that much content. Some of the puzzles can be a real pain in the ass to figure out if you haven't played Picross before, and even then. Like, in the press email I got for this game, They said go look it up on Wikipedia. I went and looked it up on Wikipedia. All the stuff I already knew was the only stuff on that page, and it still didn't bloody help. Don't play this unless you have a very, very intimate knowledge of Picross, and even then, good luck. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.